every year, the Pro Bowl voters botch this. They get it wrong. Players who are absolutely more deserving of Pro Bowl spots get snubbed. This year is definitely no exception. And there are certain players that I will name right off the bat, but one in particular comes to mind, and that is none other than Za'Darius Smith, who has been absolutely fantastic this season. I thought this was going to be his shot to get in. Obviously, the stats line really speaks volumes. 10 sacks. Obviously, not as much as other players got, like Shaq Barrett of the Bucks. Obviously, he got more sacks. Chandler Jones got more sacks, but ZaDarius obviously led the league, is leading the league in pressures, and that's something that's kind of like an invisible stat that people tend to overlook, and that kind of stuff goes unnoticed, and they got it wrong, and I was definitely hopeful that maybe some people would take a good look and just see how good of a player that ZaDarius was. They didn't. So it's disappointing. To the two guys that did make the Pro Bowl, Aaron Rodgers and David Bakhtiari, congratulations to them. I would have to say I'm kind of torn on both Aaron and David making it. However, David Bakhtiari is a Pro Bowl caliber left tackle, no doubt about it, but I thought this season he was not really worthy of it. He's kind of had somewhat of a down year. However, he has played really well. I will say that he has played really well. I thought there were some other left tackles that were more deserving, and a couple of right tackles that were obviously snubbed from the Pro Bowl. Especially our right tackle, Bryan Bulaga, who has probably had the best year of his career in quite some time dealing with all the injuries, and he didn't even make it as an alternate, and I'm very disappointed that Bryan Bulaga, who is a Pro Bowl talent in my book, will probably never make a Pro Bowl because his name is Bryan Bulaga, and he goes completely unnoticed, and it's a shame. I really wanted Bryan Bulaga to get into the Pro Bowl this season. He has earned it. ZaDarius earned it. And there's a bunch of other guys that I can name right off the top of my head that has earned it, and I will go into that list in just a minute. But I'd like to go back to Aaron Rodgers and his earning of the Pro Bowl. I thought he was definitely played pretty well this season. He's been very up and down. There have been some games where he's been obviously looked like the Aaron Rodgers from a few years ago before his collarbone injury. There's some games where he's looked completely lackluster. He's missed a few throws here and there. The passing yardage has not really been up. Not completely his fault. There's some cases where he hasn't had to throw the football because our running game has been so dominant and lethal with Aaron Jones, who also missed the Pro Bowl. So, again, this has been a pretty good year for Aaron, given that he is 36, and given the lack of weapons, so to speak. Devontae Adams obviously being his number one weapon, and Allen Lazard being the number two receiver by default. What it really comes down to is popularity, and that's kind of what has been the case for these guys. Aaron Rodgers is a popular player. David is a very popular player. Za'Darius Smith is not really a big name. He was a backup in Baltimore, so that is understandable, and that is the whole flaw with the Pro Bowl voting system, is that if you're not a big name, you don't make it. Simple as that. And you can play a great season and you don't make it because you're just not a big name. And this is why I absolutely hate the Pro Bowl voting. I absolutely hate the Pro Bowl in of itself. The game sucks. It's boring. It's It's absolutely completely worthless. I haven't watched a Pro Bowl in years, and I will not watch the Pro Bowl yet again, but I will catch the skills competition if I can. So that'll be kind of fun to watch, and I love that the NFL brought back the skills competition. But enough of that. Here is the list of the players of Packer players that are alternates. That is our snubbed players that certainly deserved it. That is Za'Darius Smith, Aaron Jones. I mean, he was definitely in the conversation. He has done really well this season in scoring touchdowns. Mason Crosby, Jair Alexander, Preston Smith. Many people probably have seen him as a snub too because of the sack count. And while he certainly has played well, I probably would say that he has not been better than a Za'Darius Smith, and he's definitely a very good alternate for sure. And Corey Linsley kind of came a little bit as a surprise to me as an alternate, but Corey has been a very good center for us, and I'm glad he's getting a little bit of recognition. And our newcomer, strong safety Adrian Amos. Obviously, he has definitely had a very good quiet season, and I'm glad he's getting some recognition in there as well. Let me talk about Mason Crosby, who definitely earned a Pro Bowl this season. He was definitely snubbed for sure, and Mason has been. Obviously, he has had a really, really good season for us. He's only missed one field goal, and in a really not so great year for Mason. I mean, his wife battled cancer and won the battle, but then not long after that, his sister-in-law died from cancer, and it's just been a really, really tough year for him, but also a very good year. He's not only had to go through all that, he's also had to fend off Sam Ficken to be able to keep his job here in Green Bay, and he won the job. And he won with flying colors. And no way did I actually see Sam Ficken taking over his place here, kicking here in Green Bay. And shout out to Mason for just being a true warrior for this season. And I don't think that anyone has been able to handle adversity as much as Mason this year, and I really think he's really been an unsung hero for us this season. And it sucks, and I really, really feel bad for Mason not really being able to make it this time. And I think for many times he's been snubbed from the Pro Bowl. He's been an absolutely amazing kicker here in Green Bay all throughout his career, and I know he's had some ups and downs in some of his career. He's had some more missed field goals, but I'm definitely very thankful that we have Mason. We have a kicker instead of going through kicking carousel like some teams do, and they're never able to find the stability there like we in Green Bay have been able to find. So I'm definitely disappointed that Mason didn't make it. I would also like to talk about J.K. Scott too. I mean, as long as we're talking about special teams players, I thought J.K. Scott also had a pretty good upper hand in the beginning to making the Pro Bowl as a punter, and then a couple of bad games here and there. He was botching a few kicks, and it wasn't not looking too good for him. But then he stepped it up and found his kicking niche back, and JK47 is back. But I guess the inconsistency has probably kept him from being able to get it, and also being that his name is J.K. Scott, so he's not a really popular name, and I'm pretty sure the Rams kicker, I forget his name, the Rams punter, not Greg Zuerlein, the Rams punter, Johnny Hekker, probably got it, and that's not a surprise because Johnny Hekker is a heck of a punter, and if he made it over J.K., congratulations to him. Anyway, that's the end of my whole rant on the Pro Bowl. It really doesn't really mean all that much, really. What really matters is this upcoming week against the Minnesota Vikings. Let's let's go to their building, beat them, win the division, and who knows, with this team rallying together, getting hot at the right time, come playoff time, who knows what can happen. This team could just get together, go on a huge rally, and who knows, maybe just wins it all. And boy, would that be a very good ending to, the redemption tour that is the 2019 Green Bay Packers. And that would just be the icing on the cake for this redemption tour, is to defy the odds and probably beat some teams that are probably currently better than us right now, to get to the big game and bring home another Lombardi back to Green Bay. So with that, I'll catch you guys later for the Monday night game. Go Pack, go.